Hello there guys, it's your Bubulkaun here, back in another video, and today I'm going to do What If Deku Was Abandoned Part 6. Hope you enjoy it. So no recap this time because it was a character development part. But if you want to know what happened between Nijiri and Deku and Ryuko and how the influence started changing him a bit, click an I button right here. But if you already know what happened last part, sit down, relax, and I hope you enjoy this part. So before we start moving forward with the story, there is one thing I have forgotten to basically add in last part because I was so focused on Deku development, and it's Nijiri's parents. They were concerned about her, especially after seeing the massive fire tornado in the news. And even though she is one of the big three and she was with Ryuko, they decided to check on her. So after Ryuko and Deku realized that she's talking to her parents, Ryuko looked at Deku waiting for a reaction. But he did nothing. So she asked him, is he okay? Doesn't he feel uncomfortable knowing that she's talking with her parents? Deku looked at her, give her a puzzle look and tell her why. She tell him, you know about your parents, and Deku sighed and tell her that he actually feels something. He's actually happy knowing that she at least have good parents, and they're not a-holes like mine. That's surprisingly mature for a 14-year-old kid. Deku replied telling her that when you're living on your own, you have to grow up faster, because weaklings will not survive this cruel world, and Ryuko actually agreed with him. After that, the week passed and they have to go back to their city. Ryuko's city. And Ryuko did offer Deku to stay in her city for next month, or basically the rest of the summer vacation. But he declined because he's already so much in debt to her that if he accepts her offer, it will hurt his pride. And in debt to her, I mean not money-wise, like emotional and support-wise. But Deku tell if she's okay with it, he can come every other day to train with them. She still need to work. She tell him that the door of the agency is always open for him. But before he returned to his city, she gave him one last advice. He need to start working on mastering his techniques before he improve in strength even more. Because in a fight, strength is not everything. Especially for you, you have a natural talent of improving and adapting in most situations that you're in. Deku nodded and tell her that he will see what he can do. So they went their separate way, but in his way to his house, Deku started thinking that he never had a natural talent to anything. The only reason he was able to improve is because he forced his body to learn. But what did he base on that? Because reading people's move and try to adapt to it is almost like second nature to him. So he kept thinking about it until it hit him. He went to his room, opened his closet, and picked up a box that have 2 years worth of dust on it. I never thought that I have to open it again, but then Deku blow the dust away, open up the box, and there is his old stuff. Some All Might figurines that he immediately crushed to pieces, and one poster, and he used his power to burn it right away. Then the thing that he needed, his hero notebook. Even though it's not up to date, it still have a lot of information about a decent amount of heroes. So he started to read it and he quickly realized that his special ability is only him or his old self, old habit, or what's left of it. And without realizing it, that trick developed over time. Maybe this old trick of mine is still worth keeping. But this book is so outdated. Plus it only covers weaker heroes. And some about that clown again. Just you wait, I will show you what a quirkless can do. Then Deku come up with the idea to make a new notebook, but this time he will cover heroes and villains. Because his power, like I said last part, is still a mystery to him. Plus with his new ability, he doesn't know what he can't and can't do. So he decided to wait until nightfall because villains roam at night. Not all of them, but some of them do. Plus Deku can observe them from afar without them noticing him or being able to see his face. And that was his routine for a few days. And because he's in break, both from school and work, he spent some time of his day getting information about heroes. And he's only after the one that he can copy, or at the very least mimic their moves. But sadly the villains that Deku meet can barely fight, and only a few of them have a quirk that help them fight, but they are not using it at his full potential. They are only using it to make as much damage as possible. The heroes on the other hand, they have a couple that he's interested in, Ingenium and Kamui Woods. Even though their quirks give them a huge advantage against the villains, they also have solid techniques, so he analyzed their moves and tried to apply them in his fighting style. And of course when he's not being a stalker for knowledge, he's working on his own power. If you remember last part, I did say that Deku learned something new about his healing technique. Well, he started testing it out because he realized that 10 minutes is pretty long for healing wounds, especially during a battle. And since he's going to UA, he doesn't know what to expect. So usually when he heals himself, he just let his power run through the wound. But right now he's trying to focus it like he did with his attack. I just realized that Deku doesn't have a name for his move. Well, comment section, it's your turn. Give me a name or you have to wait 3 to 4 parts for me to find a good name for it. So he was able to do it for some extent and he needed to stay still to do it. So he will not get stronger overnight. He need to put some work into it. Sorry, a lot of work into it. And of course, let's say twice a week he trained with Ryuko. And she quickly realized that Deku's fighting style has changed a bit. So she asked him about that and he told her what he's doing. And she scolded him for doing something so reckless. Then Deku reassured her that he's keeping his distance, so don't worry. Plus, he's far stronger than any average villain. Ryuko tell him that's it, average villain. You don't know when you're going to face a real villain. Someone so dead inside that he's not even considered a human anymore. And he will use every dirty tactic to make sure that he will win. Deku once again reassured her that he will be fine, because he only watch when there is a fight, and he will make sure that he's not the one who will cause it. And he's only doing this for a few hours a day. Developing my techniques take quite a lot of time. Ryuko sighed and tell him, look kid, I know I don't have any authority over you, and we live in different cities so I cannot protect you when it's getting tough. So just stay safe, please. Because if you get hurt, someone will get pretty upset. And when she said last sentence, she was looking at Nijire. Deku blushed and tell her, yeah, I will stay safe. And Ryuko just grinned. After that, the summer vacation is done, so Deku have to return to his middle school for his last term. And you can imagine how Deku was thrilled to return to school. He was so excited, like, what the f I'm saying right now? Come on, everyone hates school. Let's return to the story, shall we? So when Deku returned to school, he tried his best to make sure that he keep his power under control, especially with his new trick, because whenever he's got emotional or specifically angry, everything around him start breaking apart. And he think that Ryuko predicted this. That's why she told him that he need to focus on mastering his techniques before he improve in strength even more. So from this point on, Deku's life returned to normal. I mean work, school and training. But in a weekend, he trained with Ryuko. And another point I need to add is Deku's co-workers also realize that Deku changed a bit. He's more open to them as well. So remember when I said that Deku is trained how to heal almost instantly? I would say in January or almost a month before the entrance exam. He pretty much have full control or mastery over that technique because he realized the benefit of it, especially during training. And accidentally he created a new technique, and I would say that he will use it in the entrance exam. That's why he was a bit busy, and AJ catch on that and tell him is he focusing on his study as well, because the entrance exam is both a theory one and a practical one. He tell her that he's studying but he's training more. It feels that I'm about to discover something about my power. That's why I need to go extra in the training. And AJ bluntly tell him that she's glad that he's training and focus on getting stronger, but you are an idiot if you think you are going to your way without passing the theory one. Yeah, I guess you're right. I need to focus on studying a bit more. Then Nijie tell him that if he need help, she can always give him a hand. I can pass by your house and we can study together. Of course, she was embarrassed after saying that, but she is only concerned about Deku and make sure that he pass or enter UA. Deku replied by blushing as well, but before he can answer, Ryuko chimed in and asked what they are doing. So Nijiri explained their predicament and how to make sure that Deku can pass the entrance exam. Ryuko told him that's a good idea while giving Deku a grin. But don't you think you are moving a little bit fast there, kid? Inviting a girl to your house? At least go on a date first, or at least a dinner. Nijiri and Deku's faces turned red, understanding what Ryuko is trying to say. Deku get up and tell that she's really into things again. Maybe I am. It's me or it sounds like you're enjoying it. Ryuko replied that, yeah, somewhat. Not going to lie, you look adorable when you are embarrassed. Plus, it makes you look less grumpier than usual. Deku just sighed and told her, of course you do. After that, everyone returned to the normal routine. But the next day, Deku got a phone call from Nijiri telling him that she will pass by his house later that day. Deku asked her why. Yesterday, I did tell you that I will help you study, so are you still okay with that? Deku finally remembered, but he also remembered what Ryuko told them, so his face get a tint of red. And he tell her, yeah, sure, why not? He need the help. Anyway, after school, they meet, because Nijiri already know where Deku live, so they spend a few hours together. Stop it, they only studying. And of course, this will help their relationship move forward. because the more Deku feel comfortable around Nijiri, it will be less embarrassing to tell her his real feelings, and vice versa for her. So let's say fast forward to the day of entrance exam. So Deku once again is in front of Yue, and he just went inside so he doesn't meet Bakugo or Oraka. But Bakugo was able to see him from afar, and that made him enraged. And after Bezgmak explained the robot system and the points, Deku also doesn't have his interaction with Ida because he kept his mouth shut the whole time. So he was able to pass the theory exam. I will not say he got the top score, but let's say he's in top 10. That's the benefit of training with someone that already passed the exam. Plus, Deku is a fast learner. He just needs the right motivation. So right now is the time for the theory exam. Everyone is ready themselves, stretching and everything. Then the gates open and Path Mike tell them to go. And Ida used his engine to get ahead of everyone until realize that Deku is beside him. So they somewhat stick together for a while. And for some reason when Ida saw Deku fight, he have a weird case of deja vu. Especially when Deku start kicking, it somewhat resemble his. Because I assume that Ida did train with his brother a bit. So I'm pretty sure he did learn how to kick from him. And Deku is copying Ingenium's techniques. So after a few minutes of this, Deku decided to take advantage of his power. So he jumped as high as he can, and with it he was able to see where are the rest of the robots. So he started jumping from roof to roof, and when he see one of the robots, he fired a key blast enough to destroy it, nothing more, nothing less. He need to preserve his energy. It's a trick he learned from Nijiri. Because remember, their powers are very similar. Deku keep doing this the rest of the exam until the Zero robot shows up. Here remember, it's literally worth 0 points, so he doesn't bother with it until he hears a scream for help. He looked down to see Oraka and her foot is stuck beneath the rubble. And the 0 point robot is getting closer and closer to her. So the Deku 2 years ago will never jump in to save her because he doesn't care. But after spending some time with Nijiri and Ryuko, they started to reignite his will to fight back or save people. So he gained his teeth and fly at top speed toward Oraka. He landed next to her, picking her up from the rubble, and he took her to a safe distance from the robot. She thanked him for saving her. It's okay, don't mention it. Then Deku realized that he have enough points to pass. And this is a golden opportunity to use his new technique. He was planning of using it against the other robots, but they are so weak that his weakest blast was able to destroy them. So he started running toward the robot and at the same time started chaining his key in his hand. And he starts scanning the robot for any weaknesses. It's pretty tough, but if I can stop him, then he stopped and the key sphere that was in his hand started changing. And it formed a spear of light. Don't get me wrong, it took him a minute to make it. And if you ask me how Deku was able to do it, it have similar concept with his healing technique. But one of them is inside his body and the other one is outside. Plus, it's still a draining technique, so he cannot spam it. I would say at this point of time, he can make 3 spears, but after that he need a lot of rest. So he formed his spear and threw it at the robot. And the result was much bigger than Deku anticipated. He thought that maybe it will make a dent or stop him, but nope, it completely destroyed his leg or feet. 1 second, robots does have feet? I don't know. Basically, what are the wheels? They get completely destroyed, so the robot turned around and fell on his back. Deku was taken off firing another spear, but he was stopped when President Mike told him that time is up. Deku was a bit bummed, but at least he got to test his new skill. And by the way, when Deku fired his attack, it shocked everyone. The contestants, the teachers, everyone was shocked. And some of them didn't recognize Deku from last year's sport festival. They know that he have super strength, but what's up with the light show? Ormond is thinking that he did see this kid before, but where? After that, Deku returned to his house and he have to wait a week. And of course, Deku cannot stay still, so he makes sure that he trained regularly. Plus, he's trying to get a better hold of his spear technique. He's trying to figure out a way how to use less power and somehow hold it for way longer for close range fight. But that will take some time. Anyway, a week has passed and Deku get the letter. A small gray disc fall on the table and he starts showing a video of All Might. And the second All Might said, "Hello young Deku, break this disc." Somehow that's actually make me feel better. So Deku read the letter and realized that he's in class 1A and he get the first place in the practical exam. I know I did destroy some robots, but not that many. How did I get so many points? 150, huh? I got 90 points for destroying the robots, that's why attack points. But saving points? President Mike never told us about these points. Could it be because I saved that brown hair girl? I think the video should tell me that. Well, it doesn't matter now, I was able to pass, that's it. Then he called Nijiri and gave her the good news and she was ecstatic that he passed. Then she bluntly told him that considering his techniques and everything, he's almost as strong as her. Almost, I'm still stronger than you. And you had to say that to my face. Nijiri just giggled and tell him, yeah, see you tomorrow I guess. Yeah, see ya. So fast forward the next day and Deku got lost because UA is huge. I knew high school should be big, but come on, this is outrageous. 1A, 1A, oh. Then Deku saw a massive door that have a red 1A on it and said, yeah. Even doors are big here, alright? Alright, Izuku is a new start, so just cheer up. And then he saw Bakugo. Yep, nothing has changed. Well, somewhat. At least Ida is yelling at Bakugo. Then Ida saw Deku and start walking toward him and tell him, You are the one who did the exam with me. Yeah? What about it? I just want to ask you, how did you know that there is saving points? I didn't. So shouldn't heroes technically save lives? So that's basically what we should do? Shouldn't you already know that? Ida looked at Deku dumbfounded and tell him, Oh, you're right. And the reason Deku is a bit more friendly toward new people, it's, well, Nijiri and Ryuko's influence. Plus, he doesn't feel any hatred coming from Ida. So he's a bit more willing to let people in, but he's still keeping his distance. So he's not as emo as Todoroki, but he's still a far cry from the old Deku. Then Oraka arrived, and when she saw Deku, she thanked him once again for saving her. And Deku just nodded. Then he can feel someone looking at him. He looked behind Oraka and see Aizawa on the ground. What the? And that makes Oraka turn around and ask Aizawa if he need a hand. Aizawa tell her no and tell them that if they're here to make friends, leave. We are going to do an exam right now, so go change to your PE uniform. Deku starts walking to his seat and he put his bag. And he's behind Baku and he doesn't actually like that place, so he will ask Aizawa for a change of seats after the exam. Sorry, I mean test. And of course the students argue that it's not fair to do a test in the first day. I think they're right, it's a bit unfair, Ida asked Deku. Well, and just complain about it will do nothing, only waste time. Plus you should get used to it because from now on nothing will get heading to you in a silver plate because you have a quirk. Everyone is speechless like where did this come from? Then Deku just walked out and he met Aizawa. Aizawa looked at him and told him to follow him. And he started thinking maybe he found someone worth keeping this time. Plus Aizawa did see the sport festival and the entrance exam, so he realized that Deku's got much stronger in 1 year. So maybe if he train him up a bit, he will be worth something. Unbeknownst to him, Deku is training with Ryuko. So after Deku's speech, everyone gathers at the outdoor field. Aizawa gave Bakugo a ball and tell him to throw it using his quirk. Bakugo smirked and he threw the ball. But before he threw it, his hands start glowing and it's almost like red veins appeared on it. But only Aizawa and Deku saw that. Deku told to himself, red veins, this is new. So original when Bakugo threw his ball, he got almost like 750 meters. Let's say this time he got 900, almost 1000 meters. And before you ask, yes, Bakugo have one for all. It's obvious. So everyone start throwing their ball and they get the same result as the anime. But when it's time for Deku, he realized that the test is to throw the ball as far as he can. So he grabbed the ball with his right hand and pulled it backward. And he started readying his attack. And the air around him started going wild. The ball started glowing with blue aura. Then Deku fired it. And he kept doing it for a solid minute. Aizawa started reading the distance. 100, 300, 800, 1000. And it kept going up until infinity. And please guys remember, Deku is throwing a ball, not a human. So even though he can throw a ball to orbit, he can't throw a human or anyone to orbit. Not yet. And after Aizawa snapped from his shock, he showed Deku's result and everyone is speechless. Bakugo is furious. He channeled one throw in his legs and jumped at Deku. But Deku anticipated him because of his malice toward him. So the second Bakugo got in range of Deku, Deku spin kicking Bakugo in the face, sending him flying. Aizawa tried to stop Bakugo using his scarf, but Bakugo was a bit faster because of one for all, so Aizawa was not able to reach him. But he was able to cancel both of their quirks, so he thought Deku doesn't have a quirk. So when he hit Bakugo, Aizawa was speechless with the power. Like, I did use my quirk to stop him, so how? And Deku was holding back a bit because he just used quite a bit of power. Plus the exam is still not finished, so he wants to conserve as much power as possible. Even though he will like to beat Bakugo to a pulp, he wants to pass the test. So Bakugo slowly get up holding his face and he got a nosebleed and he's missing a tooth. And a clear mark where Deku kicked him. Aizawa is looking at Deku dumbfounded, but he quickly changed his expression to worry. Who is this kid? The only name Izuku, doesn't have a family name, and his file said he's quirkless. At first I thought that was misinformation, but I wasn't able to cancel his quirk. I need to keep an eye on him. Then he looked at Baku and tell, you're alive? Good. Consider this your last warning. If you do it again, I will expel you in the spot. Alright, let's continue with the test. So they did and Deku crushed it. He got first place in every one, except for the ball throw, he's equal with Oraka. And because of Deku's intervention, Aizawa did not make the rule that the last place will get expelled. So after the test is done, Aizawa told them they can rest the rest of the day, and he left the class because he want to do some digging about Izuku. And I'm going to stop it right here because the video is 19 minutes. So what do you think of it, guys? Will Aizawa find anything about Deku? How Deku will react when he know that he will be a student under All Might? Leave your thoughts in comments down below, and if you liked the video, drop a like, it helped me a lot. And if you are new, subscribe, there is more videos like this coming. And like always guys, peace.